Hi and welcome back to Joe Talks Cars and welcome to another video. Today is going to be an amazing day because today I have a new car on the channel for me to have a walk round, do a review on it and take it out onto the road. And that car is a 1987 Porsche 911 3.2 litre. And I think you will agree it looks absolutely stunning in this cassis red colour. Very, very rare colour. I've never seen one like it. And thank you so much for Mark for bringing the car down and letting me have a little go in it. So what exactly do we have here? So like I said earlier, this is a 911 G Series with a 3.2 litre engine in it. It's the later model, so it's 1987, and it comes with the G50 gearbox, which is known to be the better of the two gearboxes that these cars came with. As you can see, this car is a coupe. These G Series 911s were available as a convertible, as a Targa and a coupe, and obviously we have the coupe here. This particular model is a sport model. So what that gives you is a front like splitter, valance, whatever you want to call it. It comes with the famous whale tail spoiler, and it also comes with these 16-inch wheels, which in this case are painted in body colour and look absolutely beautiful. The car also, with it being a sport, has lovely sport seats, but the rest of it, more or less, compared with the standard versions, the sport is more or less the same car, comes with no extra power. So one fun fact about these cars, which I don't know how many people know, is that they do actually have a torsion beam on the back. So it's not a fully independent suspension, it's a torsion beam, which makes the car handle probably slightly different to some of the more modern stuff. One giveaway that this car is fitted with a torsion beam suspension is this little panel here. So remove this, and this is how you get access to the torsion beam should you need to take it out. So if you see this kind of mark on a 911, it's because it's got a torsion beam. The front suspension on this particular one has been lowered a couple of millimeters. I'm not sure the exact amount, but he's taken it down a little bit. The owner says that it makes it a little bit bouncy, but he really likes it. And I think the car looks really, really nice. It looks nice and level. It doesn't look like the front's been lowered particularly. It just kind of sits really, really nicely. And I think it is worth mentioning, yet again, this beautiful colour. Look at it in the sunlight. It's just insane. I've never seen a 911 in this colour. It's beautiful. I just want to lick it. It's so nice. So like we touched on earlier, this car is fitted with the whale tail, the spoiler, whatever you want to call it. It's very similar to the turbo models, although you don't get these kind of ridged areas at the side. It's more flat, just kind of like a lip spoiler, but it looks really, really stunning. A lot of people take these off. I'm not quite sure why, but I suppose without the spoiler, you get the clean 911 lines. I just love the spoiler. It's iconic and makes the car stand out even more. Not that it needed to stand out more with it being pink. It's also got the rear wiper. I love a rear wiper on a 911 because a rear wiper on a 911 or any Porsche signify that it's probably quite a high-spec model. My car's got one and it's a very expensive option. Talking a little bit about the engine, obviously we touched on earlier, it's a 3.2 litre, 231 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot on today's standards, but bearing in mind this car's tiny, it's not even as wide as a Mark 1 MX-5, so that's a fun fact for you. It's an absolutely tiny car, very small dimensions and very little weight. The engine is obviously an air-cooled engine, but most people won't realise, but they actually take around 12 litres of oil to fill these up. So although they are air-cooled, they are equally oil-cooled as well. So it's a lot of oil these things take. So now onto the interior of this absolutely stunning 911. I cannot tell you how good this is to sit inside. Although it's a small car from the outside, it feels like a modern Porsche, if I'm being honest. It's real nice and airy, it's very practical, everything is where you expect it to be, and it's just really, really nice to sit in. I've never been in a 911 of this era, and yeah, it's just really nice. It's really nice to see these really thin pillars everywhere. So you're essentially sat in a big glass box. Really good visibility, but yeah, it's lovely. These seats are incredible. I thought my seats in my Cayman were quite heavily bucketed on the sides. Nothing compared with this. This is a sport, so these seats are optional with the sport and they really do hug you. I can imagine if you throw in this around some B roads, it's really going to grab hold. Obviously this car is a manual, they don't come in automatics. It's a 5-speed manual and they can be quite awkward. So because I've never driven a car of this age, I've never driven a 911 like this, I'm probably going to make a bit of a mess of it. So it'll probably be a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going to do my best. This interior is very, very unique as the colour on the outside. I can't imagine how expensive this must have been when it came out all those years ago. But it's got cream leather interior, a cream carpet, but it's then got a burgundy headliner, and it looks to be like a burgundy dash and steering wheel. Looks absolutely stunning. Honestly, the spec is incredible. Whoever spec'd this originally, fair play to you, but it must have cost a lot of money. The current owner of this car has had the car about 10 years now. He didn't pay very much for it, and the values of these cars tend to sit around the £50,000 mark. So very, very good investment, and if you were looking to buy one now, I can imagine they're still going to keep going up and up in value. So make a very, very good purchase if you're wanting an air-cooled 911. So back onto the interior and more about the layout. So it's slightly unusual in here. Everything is kind of down in the lower part of the dashboard. There's some buttons that are very much out of reach. It's not as ergonomic as some of the newer stuff, and I'm quite surprised with being a Porsche that they haven't always been the way they have. They clearly have been designed a lot better in the more modern stuff. Everything is more ergonomic, but again, it's still really nice. Everything feels solid. It's got a sunroof, which still works, and the aircon actually still works, although not very much. So we're probably going to get very, very hot in here today. But other than that, it's a typical Porsche layout with its rev counter in the middle, speedo to one side. Like I said earlier about these cars, they do take a lot of oil to fill them up. So 12 litres of oil, which means it is more oil cooled than air cooled. And with that, the car has got a slight obsession with oil monitoring. So it's got a dial for oil pressure, it's got a dial for oil temperature, and a dial for oil capacity as well. So it's monitoring the oil all the time, because if you ran out of oil in this, it's done for. So it's super important to keep an eye on all the dials, especially in a car this age. These things are very delicate and need to be looked after. So the only thing left to do now is get this thing started up and take it out onto the road and yeah, see what we can, see what we find, see how badly I drive it. But yeah, let's get going. Right, so we've just jumped in, and this is going to be my first drive of a 1987 3.2 911, so I'm a little bit nervous. The pedals are very, very off-centre, I'm going to say that from the start. The owner told me it's not actually as bad as what they say, but they are pretty off-centre. You kind of are sat at a slant. But yeah, it's extremely warm in here. We've not got the aircon on because it's going to affect the audio and everything, but I have got the window open because I'm just going to melt, turn into a sweaty mess. But we're going to take it out onto the roads, round near the motorist hub, and yeah, just give you my thoughts, my impressions on what I think to this 911, because it's obviously extremely different. There's no ABS, no power steering. Apparently they're very difficult to drive, so I'm probably going to make an absolute hash of this. First I'm setting off now. I'm not setting off. No. I'm not setting off. Right. Where's the biting point of this clutch? Oh, we're going. Right, okay. I set off without stalling it, which I think is the first challenge. I've passed the first test. Oh, it's extremely bumpy. But we are going through a field currently, so once we get this out onto the open road, it should be absolutely fine. Hopefully the camera is doing this justice. I'm absolutely terrified. But yeah, another Porsche back there. But to be fair, I mean, I haven't got even out of first gear yet, but it's not that bad. It's hard to get used to. The brakes, obviously there's no ABS, I don't think they'll even be servo assisted or anything. So you have to really stamp on them. We weren't even travelling very fast then and I had to really slam on. I am going to put the window up because it's probably going to ruin the audio, so prepare for me to get very, very sweaty. We're into second gear now. And do you know what? I'm making this look very easy. Watch any other video on YouTube of people trying to drive these for the first time after jumping out of something like a modern Cayman or something like that, and they can't do it. This is absolutely fantastic. The noise of it is incredible. You can just, it feels like the engine's in here with you, and it is, and it's not very far away. It's got plenty of power from its 231 horsepower. You really don't need any more. Handling wise, it feels extremely planted, and it's lovely, really, really lovely not to have power steering. The car just feels nice and heavy and very secure on the road. It's just absolutely fantastic. We're not going to go on much of a drive today, but it's really good to get out onto the open road and have my first experience of this car. So we're coming to a stop now, so no servo assisted brakes, clutch in. It's extremely heavy. It's a workout. I'm telling you now, it's a workout. I think we're going to go this way. I don't even know where the indicators are, so I'm not going to bother at this point. Oh, they're just there. No, I wasn't worried about that. I just needed to pull out. But no, it's not that hard to drive. I'm not going to lie. I thought it would be worse. I thought it would be heavier. It's not that bad. It really does hold the road lovely. And although it's very, very warm in here, sweating, it's such a great experience. I am having one hell of a day off here. I can't believe that only just over a year ago I started my YouTube channel, and now I'm driving a 1987 911. Someone has just kindly brought it down and said, yeah, you know, take it out, have a little drive, and do a review on it. And that is so kind. I cannot thank Mark enough for bringing this down today. I'm not really going to push the limits of the car. It's a very old car, and you need to drive it with mechanical sympathy, which I am doing. Be very, very careful. But wow, what an experience. These seats, they really, really hold you in. They're super comfortable. The actual ride quality is very, very good for something of this age. I'd expect it to sort of bounce around a bit more and be a bit more unsettled. It's not at all. It's pretty easy, to be fair. The pull in second gear is really strong. It loves to rev out. And as you can hear, hopefully the camera's picking up the roar of that 3.2 litre. Now the 3.2 litre in these 911s is known as one of the best engines, one of the most reliable, and the owner has reported pretty much no problems. He's had to have the top end rebuilt, but that's pretty standard on a car of this age. And other than that, he's had no real issues. It's been very reliable for him, and it doesn't really owe him anything because the value of these is going through the roof. Just going to turn it around here. Right, I've got reverse now. This is going to be the next challenge, isn't it? Where the hell's reverse? Oh, I was doing so well. Is that reverse? I can't find reverse. Right, I think we can make it anyway. I can't find reverse. Can't find it. What? It's up there? Okay, the gear stick's on upside down. Right, that wasn't me. The gear stick was on upside down. Right, it's fine. We're fine. We've turned it around. The gear stick was on upside down. I've just realised. There we go. Back the right way now. Well, that's good. It's nice and warm now. The car's up to temp, so you can just hear that roar. That is absolutely amazing. The visibility is incredible. You feel like your face is like pressed up against the windscreen, and you look around and there's just no blind spots. It's a tiny, tiny little car, and it's just lovely to look out and just see the two like headlight bumps each side. You know you're driving a 911. You're constantly reminded by that, and you can see the colour from in here, which is really nice. I bet this thing gets some serious attention when Mark's out driving it around on the road. He did say a lot of people aren't really like a huge fan of the colour, but I think it's what makes this car, to be honest. It's totally unique, and in the sunshine it's probably the nicest looking 911 of this era I've ever seen. It's not a concourse car. Mark likes to drive this car a long way. Recently doing a trip to Skye in the north of Scotland, and lots of miles under its belt. So it's not a concours car, it's got scratches on it, it's got stone chips, and I think that's what makes this so appealing, really. It's been driven properly and it's been shared with everyone. It's getting extremely hot in here. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where the aircon button is, and we're not gonna worry about that because we're not gonna be driving much longer, but I don't think I could drive much longer. I'm absolutely sweating. So this car is showing 25,500 miles on the clock. It has had new dials, and the owner thinks it's done around about 180,000. And to be fair, you cannot tell from where I'm sat. Not only is the interior in very good condition, as you've seen earlier, but the actual car drives. I'm not gonna say it drives like a modern car, that would be ridiculous, it doesn't. It drives like an old car, but it's definitely usable. I don't think I would find this too difficult to drive it like a long way, or even, I'm not gonna say commute, but I think I could commute in this. I could daily this, 100%. I just wouldn't want to leave it parked up somewhere where someone's going to ding it, because these things are going up in value at a crazy rate now. So if you were looking to put money into a 911, these are what I'd go for. At the moment, they're affordable. I'll use the term loosely, they're about 50,000. Right, so I'm going to wrap this video up right now, but just want to say thank you to Mark for lending me the Porsche 911. It's been an amazing day. I've had so much fun driving it, although it was very hot. In fact, it was so hot, I don't know how much of the rest of this video I've actually got, because as we pulled in, the camera overheated. So we don't really know how much of that drive I caught. I'm just hoping I got most of it, but if it cuts abruptly, that's why. It's too hot. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.